What's going on, everyone? It's Ozzy from OzTalksHW, and it's been a minute since I last uploaded. Hope you guys are doing well. So back in early May, I was asked to be a judge for a computer build-off competition. Time permitting, I love doing that kind of stuff, so I said yes. It's between two smaller tech YouTubers, Steve from Tech Teardown and Cameron from Definitely Tech, and let me tell you, their creations are nothing short of amazing. For this competition, the contestants needed to build a computer using a Core 2 Quad Q6600. This is a legendary processor from 2006 that would power AAA titles for the next decade. Needless to say, most computer geeks know about this processor's legacy, so I won't harp on it too much. Just know that it was a game-changing product. Of course, there are already several Core 2 Quad builds, experiments, etc. on YouTube. So what makes this one different? Well, for one of the rules was that there wasn't a budget, so you could spend as much as you wanted on the system. This is really cool because Core 2 Quad systems generally stay under $200 nowadays simply because of their price and their budget-oriented segment. But now we've opened the floodgates and we've allowed two tech enthusiasts to go full reign on the system. The only real constraint here was that the video card needed to be from 2016 or prior. So this means no RTX cards, unfortunately. That might sound a little bit unfair, but it still leaves the playing field open for the GTX 1000 series from NVIDIA or the RX 400, 500, and Fury series from AMD. Graphics performance obviously won't be an issue, but bottleneck definitely will. I'm sure a lot of you can see this coming from miles away, but what happens when you pair a 13-year-old processor with a 3-year-old enthusiast graphics card? Let's find out. The first computer we have is from Cameron at Definitely Tech, and it's a modest $300 but still powerful Core 2 Quad beast. It has 8 gigs of DDR2 memory in dual channel, an Asus P5ND motherboard, a 1 terabyte Western Digital Blue hard drive, an R9 290 Tri-X video card, some Thermaltake fans, and an EVGA 600 watt power supply. All of this is housed inside a Fractal Design Meshify C that Cameron painted silver. It has style, personality, and it's clearly on the more budget-oriented side, but I do like the extra flair Cameron added by painting the case. In the other arena, we have Steve from Tech Teardown's Core 2 Quad masterpiece. It's running with 8 gigs of DDR2 and a 4x2 gigabyte config, a Gigabyte P45 motherboard, an inland 240 gigabyte SSD, a Fantex Eclipse P600S, some Thermaltake Ring 12 fans, and an EVGA 850 watt modular power supply. He definitely didn't shy away from the no budget rule we set, spending over $100 on the case itself and totaling to $634 for the entire computer. But as many of you are aware, flashy lights and RGB LED strips are useless if the performance isn't there. Even combined with strong video cards, a solid motherboard, and good storage solutions, using the Core 2 Quad proved to be challenging. Both Cameron and Steve were able to overclock their CPUs, but one of them had more luck than the other. Cameron was able to push it to 3.0 gigahertz, which is a nice bump from the 2.66 base clock, but Steve got a lot more luck, able to push his chip to 3.55 gigahertz, and man, that extra overclock really does help. And I'll show you exactly what I mean with these benchmarks. We wanted to create a benchmark suite that tests all the components, not just the CPU, and provide a holistic view and objective view of the entire build. And because I'm the one judging, I get the luxury of choosing the importance of each benchmark. Wow, I have so much power being able to do that. I wonder if this is how NVIDIA feels now. Probably. Here's what I decided. First place will get 2 points, and second place, or last place in this instance, would receive a single point. And each point would be weighed and scaled depending on the importance and significance of each benchmark. The first benchmark is Cinebench R15, an industry standard for 3D and 4D rendering. It's great at analyzing CPU floating point performance, and considering this build competition is centered around the CPU, it will count as 25% of the overall score. As you can see, the extra 550 MHz on Steve's chip really help him out. Secondly, we have 3D Mark Firestrike. A little outdated, but still a great benchmark for the older hardware that we're using. This gives us a better view at the CPU and GPU performance together. It's worth 15% of the overall score. Next up, we chose Crystal Disk to pay tribute to storage devices. They're becoming exceedingly more important nowadays, and a fast drive can make a big difference in games, editing, and overall snappiness. The sequential read and sequential write scores counted as 5% of the total score. These synthetic benchmarks, Cinebench, 3D Mark, and Crystal Disk, total to 50% of the overall score. The remaining 50% stemmed from the 4 games benchmarked, each adding 12.5% to the builder's total. Firstly, and one you can't avoid, Fortnite. We had to include this title simply for its popularity. At 1080p, using low settings and an epic view distance, the disparity between the builds was pretty large, and if I'm honest, slightly questionable at first, but I suppose a combination of a clock speed advantage and a 15% faster video card makes sense. The next game was The Division 2, and it's clear why these systems struggled. The Division 2 appreciates more cores than faster cores and has shown to perform worse on quad-core processors, especially ones as old as the Q6600. Although EA released Battlefield 4 a whopping 7 years after the Core 2 quad, the processor held its own very well on both systems. Both had a playable and enjoyable experience, but Steve pulled ahead for a 60+ FPS experience. And lastly, CSGO. A game that's easy to start up but difficult to achieve a competitive gameplay experience. Similar to Battlefield 4, both systems were playable, but Steve's system pulled ahead for the win. And now to judge the competition. There are 4 different categories for this competition. Overall best performance, best value, best aesthetic/look, and then a fan favorite that you guys are going to be voting on using the link in the description. The overall performance winner goes without saying. You guys already know this just based on watching the benchmarks. It's Steve from Tech Teardown. But he also spent over $600 doing so, which, by the way, is wild. I still can't believe you spent that much money on a Core 2 quad machine, but power to you. Like, I appreciate the grind there. So Steve, congrats on winning that category. Now the second one is best value. Now the value of these 2 systems was actually pretty close in terms of dollars per score. Steve spent about $40 for each point he received in the competition, while Cameron spent about $38 for each point he received. In that case, Cameron, congratulations, you won. It was close, but a dub's still a dub. And then we have aesthetics. Now this is very subjective, so it really could be anyone's game, but I'll start with Cameron since your name is first alphabetically. I really appreciate you painting the case. The extra effort goes a long way, and the final product was very clean. I also enjoy your cable management and the fact that you're not too flashy with things. That's really good. The cheap and easy way to make a computer eye-catching is to throw lights in it, but I appreciate that you didn't do that and you added some personality, your own flavor to the build. On the other hand, that doesn't take away from the fact that Steve, you went all out when it came to lights and everything, but it still had a somewhat clear color scheme, and that's really good. I'm generally not a fan of vertically mounted video cards, but I think you pulled this off really well, Steve. And that cathode tube at the bottom, I love. I think it's a good nod towards the older machines that used to have a lot of these when it was more popular. The lights, everything, it looks really good, honestly. When it's all said and done, the aesthetics on each side were a lot closer than people may think, but I gotta give it to Steve here. I really appreciate everything in this build. It's awesome. But that's not it. You guys are voting on the winner of the final category. And this can be for whatever reason. For aesthetics, you like the video card better. You prefer yellow to blue, and someone had more yellow than blue, or the value, performance, whatever reason. Just make sure you share that opinion using the poll link in the description. You only have 7 days to do this, so make sure you get that vote in, and then I'll be announcing the winner on Twitter. Shameless plug. Actually, it's not shameless because it's my channel. Follow me on Twitter at OzTalksHW. With all of that being said, the Core 2 Quad was honestly a gem. 13 years later, and it's still capable of playing AAA titles with an overclock. That's wild. It does beg the question, will there be another Core 2 Quad Q6600 out there? One of those CPUs that everybody remembers has awesome value and will last you a decade or more. Some speculate one of the Ryzen 3000 chips could hold one of those. Others say that the i5-2500K was the last real contender to the Q6600 for a crown like that. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think. With all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know I've been gone for a while. As you can see behind me, this is a new place. I'm actually not where I'm in Boise, Idaho. I'm not in Atlanta, Georgia, where I'm from. I'm here for an internship and I had to get settled in and everything, and finally I'm able to record videos. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.